श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prasadi Nirvishesha Shanavadi Vashyavi Sutana Namo Mahadanyaya Krishna Prema Vinayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratushe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu He Shukruta Kanta Shiraka Anta Namosute Panchalanchalan Vishnu Devandavaneshu Vishavasate Devi Pranamami Hari Hari Nilachala Nivasaya Saya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadrabhyam Jagannathaya Te Namaha Mancha Kalpatarubhyasya Vipasandurubhayavacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vishnavibhyo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Vasari Gauramitavada Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vācālam gayate Yat kripātamaham vande Shri Guru Dīnataram. Text 28 today. Shubha Shubha Phale Moksha Se Karma Bandhana Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma Vimukto Mam Upaisyasi. In this way, you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. With your mind fixed on me in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. One who acts in Krishna consciousness under superior direction is called Yukta. The technical term is Yukta Vairagya. This is further explained by Rupa Goswami as follows. Anasaktasya vishayan yataraham upayunjataha nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagyam uchyate. Rupa Goswami says that as long as we are in this material world, we have to act. We cannot cease acting. Therefore, if actions are performed and the fruits are given to Krishna, then that is called Yukta Vairagya. Actually, situated in renunciation, such activities clear the mirror of the mind, and as the actor gradually makes progress in spiritual realization, he becomes completely surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, at the end, he becomes liberated. And this liberation is also specified. By this liberation, he does not become one with Brahmajyoti, but rather enters into the planet of the Supreme Lord. It is clearly mentioned here, Mahamupaisyasi, he comes to me. Back home, back to Godhead. There are 5 different stages of liberation. Here it is specified that a devotee who has always lived his lifetime here under the direction of the Supreme Lord as stated, has evolved to a point where he can, after quitting his body, go back to Godhead and engage directly in the association of the Supreme Lord. Anyone who has no interest but to dedicate his life to the service of the Lord is actually a sannyasi. Such a person always thinks of Krishna as an eternal servant, dependent on the supreme will of the Lord. As such, whatever he does it for the benefit of the Lord. Whatever action he performs it as service to the Lord. He does not give serious attention to the fruitive activities or prescribed duties mentioned in the Vedas. For ordinary persons, it is obligatory to execute the prescribed duties mentioned in the Vedas. But although a pure devotee who is completely engaged in the service of the Lord may sometimes appear to go against the prescribed Vedic duties, actually it is not so. It is said therefore by Vaishnava authorities that even the most intelligent person cannot understand the plans and activities of a pure devotee. The exact words are Tanpravakya Kriya Mudra Vijnanam Vijaya. Chaitanya Charitamrita Bhakti Lila 23:39. A person who is thus always engaged in the service of the Lord, or is always thinking and planning how to serve the Lord, is to be considered completely liberated at present, and in the future his going back to Godhead is guaranteed. He is above all materialistic criticism, just as Krishna is above all criticism. This verse explains the effects of Yat Karoshi Adasnasi. Yesterday we stopped at the point of Yat Karoshi Adasnasi, that if one simply offers one's activities to Krishna, even if one has no love, gradually that love will develop. Now this verse is explaining what are the effects of this offering one's activities to Krishna. That's what this verse explains. So now we see that how a devotee sails this material world is exactly how a ship sails in an ocean, or how a boat sails in a river body. So if you push water in one direction, water pushes you in the other direction actually. So this is the point. So
So in a similar fashion, actually, material energy is also just like fluid. It offers this kind of a scenario that now if you grab material energy and offer it to Krishna, give it to Krishna, then material energy pushes you towards Krishna. And if you grab material energy and hold it, use it for personal sense gratification, personal or extended, both are the same. If you use it for personal sense gratification, then material energy will throw you away from Krishna. Or material energy will try to cling on to such a person. So that's what it is actually. So this is the principle of Beyonce, isn't it? Also. So if you have a lot of baggage, you throw off the baggage, you go up, is it not? So material energy, the more one is grabbed for himself, by that weight is sinking down actually, loosen the weight, he goes up, is it not? But as long as one keeps holding on to mental energy, then actually the mental energy makes him sink actually. It pulls him down towards deeper entanglement and illusion and away from Krishna. So that's why activities of offering to Krishna are very important, because it's a science. So the subtle develops from the gross, and the subtle is based on the gross. The subtle develops from the gross. So, therefore, gross offerings create positive, subtle impressions, which slowly actually clean up the wrong trenches in our mindsets, and therefore the current of thoughts can flow now in proper directions, constructive directions actually. This is the meaning of Yukta Vairagya. Why activities are so much focused? Because, see, material world, just like as we say that there is this principle of uh, uh, fluid dynamics in this world. So just like in a river body, one is there, one can simply remain stagnant. You see, how can one remain stagnant in a river or in a swimming pool? He will sink. So the material body and the material nature, and because of our conditionings, and through the agency of material nature, we have acquired so many baggages of conditionings. So therefore, we have a lot of weight on us. And with this weight, actually, a person directly goes and sinks. So how can a weighted body not sink? That is the point, actually. Therefore, you see, there is this force which pushes a person towards sinful life. Because there is weight, so the material nature offers that force, and therefore a person is provoked towards sinful life, and in this way he gets entangled and choked up. So now the point comes is that how can this weighted body float? So for that one needs to swim. Then there is this whole art and science of swimming, is it not? One has to constantly keep moving his hands and legs, is it not? One has to constantly keep moving his hands and legs. So that is the meaning of swimming, like that. That is the meaning of Yukta Vairagya. Constantly keep moving one's hands and legs. It's not that, okay, I swam, so suppose one has to cross over the Suez Canal, or one has to cross over the between India and Sri Lanka, what is that called? Huh? Park Street.
Park Street. Park Street.
Pollock Street.
Street.
Pali Street.
Park Street.
Yeah. Pollock. Okay, Pollock Street. Right. Swim. Fine. So one has to swim that actually. Now one cannot say that already I am swimming since 3 hours, now let me relax. There is no concept of relax. There is no concept of relax, is it not? So sometimes, therefore devotee should be alert actually. A devotee should not feel, devotee should not feel relaxed. The war is still on actually. The job is not done. So constantly one has to go on. Yes, we have been offering to Krishna since so long, that will help us, but then the point is that, so we have gained expertise in swimming, so that's the help, like that. But then we need to continue swimming from it actually. We cannot just sit and relax there, we will sink. Now there are certain section of people, these fellows, what they say is that, they say, okay, you stop material activity only, then there is no problem at all. Why to bother offering to Krishna? You stop material activities only. So that is like even in river body there is a concept of floating, is it not? So now this floating can happen for some time. One can float in a certain position without a stable position, is it not? Because can you remain motionless? Can you remain without moving hands and legs? Prophecy is here actually. That as long as we are in this material world, we have to act. So some each here and there, a little bit act and finish. You will sing down. So then you need to do active swimming. Like that. And otherwise you'll be battered here and there, is it not? By the waves. And when there are waves, there is no concept of floating. It's only in a stationary body. So yes, this is the problem actually. People don't understand this material world is like an ocean. It's not a home swimming pool that one can just put his hands and legs inside and have a gala time, like that. So then people say, no, we can solve the problems. Yes, you can solve the problems if it is a swimming pool. And there is only one particular setting and you can solve the problem without God, and you can say, okay, I don't need God now, like that. But the problem is it's not a swimming pool, and then the problem statement does not remain the same which you can solve. Every time the parameters change, every time the formulas have to change. The application has to change, like that. So it's like a crossword puzzle, like that. And therefore one needs to be fully involved. Because it's an ocean. So Yukta Vairagya is like this, like this swimming. And therefore, activity is very important. Constantly, every single day, various times a day, one should keep a focus of offering his activities to Krishna. So with this section of demigod worship ends actually. But Krishna is giving such beautiful directions here in this section. And then from the last part of the 9th chapter, the section 929 to 934 will discuss about Kevala Bhakti again actually. So in fact, this demigod section has been a step-by-step glorification of Kevala Bhakti. So it's leading us step by step to Kevala Bhakti actually. And so what we have been discussing from text 20 onwards, it is also a glorification of Kevala Bhakti. Because it is building up. So we see, let's go once again to see how this text 20 to 28 build up. So we just quickly walk through text 20 to 28. We will see how these texts have been building up actually. And now we are there at Kevala Bhakti. So text 20, where the Lord is explaining that even the demigod worshippers, they worship me. So those who study the Vedas and drink the Soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. And so then they take birth in the heavenly planet of Indra and enjoy it. So the Lord is explaining, yes, so demigod worshippers are not something out of the box. They are just a partial manifestation or an accommodative manifestation, a subset, arrangement. That they are also worshipping me, but that's indirect, like that. So the Lord explains there. Now, in the next verse, now the point comes is that, okay, the demigods are worshipping you, demigod worship is your worship only, then fine, let's go to the demigods. So then the Lord explains, 21, that yes, but the point is that they fall down, and their worship is not permanent. The results they get is not permanent. Yes. When they have enjoyed thus vast heavenly sense pleasures and the results of their pious activities are exhausted, then they return to this mortal planet again. So they fall down, and what they get is repeated birth and death. They don't get much. That is the point. So one can say that, okay, it's like saying that, okay, you can cross through this semester if you study minimal, very little. Probably you just study 3 days before the exam. And somebody says, oh, I can cross through the semester, wonderful, then why to study? Why to every day study 6 hours, or why to go to classes? I say, no. The problem is, so that is a past case actually. Is it not? Okay, you can cross over, but that is a past case. You get a P grade there, or you get a D grade there, So it's a D grade, P grade case, like that, So nothing else is there, at least D grade, P grade, Agree. But then the problem is, if you simply rely on D grade and P grade, then you don't get any job. And there is no further curve, is it not? So that's what it's saying. Shine Pune, what is this? The results of their pious activities are finished. And as soon as these results are finished, they return by it's a D grade, P grade case. That means that, okay, one may, just like IIT may also give a degree if somebody is 5.8 or 6 point, like that. But then the problem is that before the admission to the degree and after the getting of the degree, the person remains the same. There is not much difference. You see the point? You see the point? And there is not much difference. People say it's just the same. It's just like that. This is the problem with demigod worship actually. That okay, person worshipped the demigods, there was a lot of commotion and all that, and now he has come, like that. Now he has worshipped the demigod, he's got the degree, has come, it's the same still, because the result what he has got is tuned off. So what he has got? He's not got anything, is it not? Like that. So therefore, one should not rely on their D grade, P grade concepts, like that. That's why text 22 then the Lord explains that therefore those who worship me do not get D grade, P grade, they get EX. Ananya, Chintayanto, Mam, these are EX candidates, they get admission in MIT, they go to, they get, they get foreign universities, and Google and Microsoft are waiting in line to, recruit them, like that, So these are the people who are Ananya Chintayanto. So what happens? Ye jana paripasate. They don't do time pass. They don't waste their time. They just do solid, serious studies. Like that. Tesham nityabhyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyam. And we are ready to give any amount of records for them. So that's the point here. Like that. So the Lord is explaining whatever they lack, whatever they have is preserved actually. Is it not? The great point is in golden lining printed on the degrees like that in the resumes and we are ready to give unlimited records to them like that. So the Lord explains, yes, whatever the lack is being supplied. So this is what the Lord explains in 22. So now somebody may say, okay, but fine, but still, okay, but fine, but still demigod worship, is considered, is it not? But anyways, still at least some consideration is there for demigod worship actually. And the Lord explains at 23, okay, these demigod worshippers, they are worshipping me, but what they are doing is avidipurvakam. It's an indirect, unauthorized way of worship. Actually, just like one may say, okay, one may just pass and get a P grade, but he is actually what he is doing is not authorized. It defeats the purpose of study. Is it not? If you take admission in an education institute and don't study, then what are you doing? Is it not? If you had to play sports, you could have taken admission in a sports college. If you had to do the other area, then you could have joined the political party, the youth wing of Aam Aadmi, or some Trinamool or something, like that, and yes, so one could have joined some local college in Calcutta where the politics is everything is centered around politics, like that. So this is the point which is being spoken here. Actually, they're defeating the purpose. It's unauthorized actually. Unauthorized. And then one can say, Another way it is unauthorized is also the demigod worship. Also, people don't worship purely. So then they have vested interest and they worship the demigods. Now, if you have vested interest and you are worshipping the demigods, it's like bribing and taking some benefits. There are some people who may give you a degree, and if you give some money, but the problem is you may be caught badly, and whole life and whole career will be spoiled. Unauthorized, actually. That's the problem with unauthorized. So now, you see, this is 23. Right? So therefore, the Lord is explaining two things actually. That yes, demigod worshippers are, they can be considered. It's a partial manifestation. But then the problem is that it's indirect. It's not permanent. They fall down. Like that. They are unauthorized. The Lord is explaining. So then the Lord says that they. So now the Lord says that they do not recognize my true nature, they have not understood me. I am the enjoyer and master of all the senses. So now the Lord starts explaining his actual position. That what is my actual position is that I am the only enjoyer and the master of all sacrifices. So these demigod worshippers, they fail to recognize this. So my true transcendental nature, this is eternal, and they do not connect to this, and therefore they fall down. So then the Lord is explaining the results. That therefore, don't think that anything and everything is okay. The statistics show that the worshippers of the ghosts will go to Bhuta and Preta, will become Bhutas and Pretas, like that. And those who worship me come back to me. And then the Lord starts explaining that, okay, if you want to come to me, then the prime ingredient, 926, the Lord explains the prime ingredient is love. You have to add love. And then 927 talks about, okay, if you don't have love, then you just perform your activities to me. Is it not? And 928, the Lord is saying that if you just perform your activities to me, don't worry about Shubha Ashubha. If you just go on performing, you will come back to me, don't worry. So this is how the Lord is building up the demigod case. So this is how the Lord builds up this case of the demigods. And therefore the Lord is bringing one towards Kevala Bhakti. So the prerequisites of Kevala Bhakti basically are talked about in 20 to 28 actually. That one needs to fix Krishna as the exclusive goal. And service to Krishna as the exclusive goal. And what one needs is the ingredients of love. And that offering has to be made in activities which are in regular day-to-day offering has to be made to Krishna. Like that. In this way, Yat Karosi Yadasana, those are the prerequisite ingredients. And now after the Lord has spoken the prerequisite ingredients, now the Lord comes to this section, 929 to 34, in which the Lord will speak about Kevala Bhakti. Pure devotional service. So let's just read text 29. Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dveshyosti na priyah ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya maitateshu chapiyah. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service to me in devotion is a friend, is in me. And I am also a friend to him. One may question here that if Krishna is equal to everyone and no one is a special friend, then why does he take a special interest in the devotees who are always engaged in his transcendental service? But this is not discrimination, it is natural. Any man in this material world may be very charitably disposed, yet he has a special interest in his own children. The Lord claims that every living entity, in whatever form, is his son. And so he provides everyone with a generous supply of the necessities of life. He is just like a cloud which pours rain all over, regardless of whether it falls on rock or land or water. But for his devotees, he gives specific attention. Such devotees are mentioned here. They are always in Krishna consciousness. And therefore, they are always transcendently situated in Krishna. The very phrase, Krishna consciousness, suggests that those who are in such consciousness are living transcendentalists. Situated in Him, the Lord says here distinctly, Maite, they are in me. Naturally, as a result, the Lord is also in them. This is reciprocal. This also explains the words, Ye yathama prapadyante, tams tathaiva bhajami. Whoever surrenders unto me, proportionately I will take care of him. This transcendental reciprocation exists because both the Lord and the devotees are conscious. When a diamond is set in a golden ring, it looks very nice. The gold is glorified. At the same time, the diamond is glorified. The Lord and the living entity always glitter. And when the living entity becomes included in the service of the Lord, he looks like gold. The Lord is a diamond, and so this combo is very nice. The living entities in a pure state are called devotees. The Supreme Lord becomes the devotee of his devotees. If a reciprocal relationship is not present between the devotee and the Lord, then there is no personalist philosophy. In the impersonal philosophy, there is no reciprocation between the Supreme and the living entity, but in the personalist philosophy, there is actually. The example is often given that the Lord is like a desire tree, and whatever one wants from this desire tree, the Lord supplies. But here is the explanation. Here the explanation is more complete. The Lord is here stated to be partial to the devotees. This is the manifestation of the Lord's special mercy to the devotees. The Lord's reciprocation should not be considered to be under the law of karma. It belongs to the transcendental situation in which the Lord and his devotees function. Devotional service to the Lord is not an activity in the material world. It is a part of the spiritual world where eternity, bliss and knowledge predominates. So one of the beautiful aspects of Kevala Bhakti the Lord is explaining is that it is reciprocal actually. There is reciprocation which is there, and because so Prabhupada is basing it on this point that because it is personal, so it's reciprocal. So you cannot say partiality because it is reciprocal actually. So Kevala Bhakti is reciprocal. It's not a one-time get-rid affair. We have to be constantly involved actually. So material world offers these one-time affairs, and because it offers these one-time affairs, it comes and goes and nothing remains with the person. But when you say reciprocal, then that remains. Then that remains. Just like, JE came and JE went off, like then people got ranks and people got... So now nobody remembers what is natural chemistry. Is it not? So it's gone. And still JE is qualified, IIT degree is also about to come, but there is still no guarantee of job. So this is one time affair, like that. So, but now it's not one time affair. Life is not one time affair. The problem is we treat life with one time affairs as a one time affair and then one lands up into a problem. Is it not? So you see why there are so many relationship problems in the world. There are so many relationship problems, even in devotee circle also, because we take relationships as one-time affairs. I did so much for him. He gave me instruction, I served him, ठीक है लेकिन अभी क्या कर रहे हो आप like that and somebody may say no I have prepared somebody says no I did so much for him, I gave him education, I gave him upbringing, this that, but now what you are doing for him? So you see, it's not one time, somebody may say, so relationships are never one time affairs, and many times mismatch of expectation always come because we think it is one time and we stop reciprocating. Life is reciprocal. Reciprocal means that the whole substance will be maintained. Just like when there are standing waves, the energy is conserved actually. Standing wave pattern, the vibrations are maintained, and therefore standing waves can give rise to beautiful geometrical patterns. The standing wave patterns actually, because the whole thing is preserved, even though the atmosphere is non-preserving. So even though the atmosphere is friction-oriented atmosphere, the atmosphere actually debilitates everything, but because one has preserved it by regular reciprocation, it becomes a standing wave pattern. So therefore it is preserved like that. Just like in a resonance circuit, then the loss of energy does not take place. So similarly, how the spiritual world can exist in this material world is by constant reciprocation actually. And that's what the Lord is explaining as the first aspect of Kevala Bhakti. I don't think it's a one-time affair. I have chanted, now it is 8 o'clock, I am get done with it. Tomorrow I will look at it. Like that. No, if you think it's a one-time affair, Maya will catch you. So one has to be involved actually. Similarly, so everything like that, one has to be involved. So we'll continue with this theme tomorrow. So Prabhupada ki jai, Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.